Desi lasagna, and I say Desi because it's nice and spicy. I'm going to be adding some oil in, bismillah, just a little at a time, and I'm frying the onions first, and once they've softened up a bit, I might add in the mince. One thing I want to mention is the reason I don't mention the spices while I'm cooking and I put it in the section down below is because it's really important to taste everything. So once I've made things or made the mixture, I always taste it, and if I feel that it needs a little bit more adding, I'll put that on, and then at the bottom is the exact amount I end up putting in at the end. So please do look in the section below to see exactly how much of each thing I've put in. Okay, so once they've browned, well, sweated out and slightly browning off, I'm going to add in the mince. I'm using chicken leg mince. You can use beef or mutton, and if that was the case, you would just cook it for a lot longer until all the juices run out and the mince goes brown. That's that indication of it being cooked for all meats actually. Yeah, so I'm just going to carry on mixing this until it releases its own juices and it starts going a bit brown. Okay, so now it's browning off a little and it's releasing its juices. I'm going to add in to this green chilies. That's optional, you don't need to put this in if you don't like too much spice. And I'm going to add in the mixed vegetables, because usually I boil them for pasta, but in the lasagna I'm not going to boil the lasagna sheets because they're the ones that are already cooked. So I'm going to pop these in, bismillah, and mix them around and let it cook for a bit longer before I add in the other spices. I'm going to add in actually the garlic as well, the garlic cloves. I've put in 4 garlic cloves in here and 2 onions diced. So I'm going to mix this around until it browns off, and then I'll add in the spices at the end. Okay, it's been 18 minutes and since when I started cooking all this, and not from when I had the vegetables in, but the juice is starting to run dry now. Everything's starting to cook, so I'm going to add in the spices. I've got paprika, red chili powder, garam masala, and I've got salt. Now if you had to choose, if you want your spices to be less, between the green chilies and the red chili powder, I would choose the green chilies because the green chilies give a nice aroma as well, rather than the red chili powder. So I'm just going to add them in, bismillah. And I'm going to cook them for a bit longer, for another 3 or 4 minutes before I add in the Dolmio sauce. Okay, so I cooked it through for about 5 minutes. Now that it's cooked through, hopefully you can see it, bismillah, I can put it in. Please, please, please make sure it is cooked through and you can smell the spices. The more raw you leave something, the less taste it has. So it smells lovely. And now I can add the Dolmio. So I'm putting in the low-fat bolognese sauce. You can put in passata and that'll be enough. But remember what I said to you before, if you put passata in, separately in the passata, put basil, garlic, a bit of green pepper, and mix it through in a blender to give it a nice, because it'll be similar to the Dolmio sauce really. I will put that on a later date. I do keep saying this, but I will do it. But for now, I use low-fat Dolmio bolognese sauce. Okay, so that's done. I'm not going to add too much tomato sauce in it because I don't like it too tomatoey. And I'll cook the Dolmio sauce through, and especially with the passata, if you put it in, make sure you cook it through. So I've cooked this for a good 4 minutes. I can leave that to the side now and prepare my white sauce. So now I'm making the white sauce, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm going to melt the butter and then add in the flour, so to make it kind of a roux, I think that's what they call it. So now the butter is melted, I'm putting it on a low heat. I'm adding in the flour, and I'm going to mix it in to a little paste. Nice and light brown. And then I'm going to gradually add in the salt, the milk, sorry. But before I add in the milk, on low heat, I'm going to add in the spices. So I've got black pepper, salt, and ground nutmeg. Nutmeg is really, really nice, but I only put a small amount in. Mix that in nicely, and then I'm just going to, as I gradually add in the milk, I'm going to whisk it in. Bismillah. And gradually putting a little bit in at a time, because you don't want it to go all clumpy, if you know what I mean. And I'm using a whisk as well. I'll just put the heat up a little bit, because it's sticking to the side. I'm just going to swap over. So I'm taking these. I'm trying not to splash it on the sides. I want to take the clumps out of it, and gradually mix it in, slowly at a time. Okay, I'm on my last bit, and see the clumps have gone now. So they're slowly, they do go. So if it starts getting clumpy, don't worry. Slowly, as you add the milk in, it will. So now I'm going to keep mixing this from time to time, because I don't want it to go clunky, but I want it to thicken. Once it's thickened, I'm going to take it off the heat and then add the cheese in. So I'll tell you how many minutes it takes me to let it thicken. Okay, so that has thickened up. And like I said, I do add spices in afterwards. Like I tasted this and I've added a little bit more pepper, a little bit more salt, and a little bit more nutmeg to give it a nice taste. I like my sauce slightly salty, so you know, use the ingredients I've got, then taste it and see what you like. Or add a little less salt, taste it and then add it. But that's nice and thick. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this off the heat, let it cool for a bit, and then add in the cheese, because I don't want it to go all clumpy. Okay, Bismillah. Here goes the cheese, and quickly just stir it slowly in. It'll make a nice sauce. So whatever I use, I will use on the lasagna. But if there's any left, I pop it straight into a container after it's cooled and pop it in the freezer, so that for the next time I want to make lasagna, I don't need to make extra sauce. But that's so nice and creamy, and it tastes really, really nice. So I would advise, for the sauce, don't go and buy the Dolmio sauce or any other sauce. Honestly, this is easy and it's really, really tasty. So that's done. Nice creamy sauce and no clumps in it. Now just ready to assemble. Oh, sound like Marvel Adventures. Okay, so we're going to prepare the lasagna sheet now. I use egg pasta lasagna. It doesn't need to be pre-cooked, so I just place it on top. You can pre-cook it, there's instructions at the back, but here goes. So I'm going to add in the mince first. So I don't know how anyone else does it, but when I add a layer of mince in, I add a little bit of the white sauce, because really I want to put the sauce on top of the lasagna sheets. Okay, so I didn't drench it in sauce. I just popped the sauce that you saw, and then I just spread it across. And now I'm going to add in the lasagna sheets. Like this. Just pop them on there. All the way around. So then I'm just going to add a bit of sauce on top of the lasagna sheets. And spread it out. So I did add quite a bit of the sauce on, because the sauce is really nice, and that's what it will give it the cheesy effect. So I'm going to add in a layer of mince now. So start that again on top of it. Then I'm going to add in just a sprinkle of my cheese. I'm using cheddar cheese because I like the taste of it. And I also put cheddar cheese in the sauce. You can put mozzarella cheese in it, but so put a layer of that in. I'm gonna add a bit of sauce to it. Actually, for this, just a little bit of sauce actually. Then I'm gonna add in the layers of pasta. Okay, so then I'm adding another layer of white sauce, and I'm gonna keep repeating this until I get to and use up the mince. Okay, so one final layer of a little bit of cheese. The mixture is so nice and spicy. And I'm going to add in the sheets together. And final layer of the white sauce on top. I mean, I'm using this because I'm Pakistani and I think every Pakistani's got these. They're for rice. They're really good but you can use a spatula. Anything with a flat to just spread this out all over. And then cover it with the rest of the cheese that you've got. And yeah, so I've got some white sauce left, but I can put that away to freeze it, like I said. So I'm just going to add the cheese over it. Okay, so I've covered it with cheese. I'm going to pop it in the oven. I've already preheated the oven at between gas mark 6 and 7. I'm going to check this after 20 minutes. Okay, so it's been 40 minutes. Let me rearrange that. And I'm going to stick the knife in. Oh, it's nice and soft and it's clean. So that is done. So I'll put it in for 40 minutes at gas mark 6. Look at it. So tasty. Alhamdulillah.